Good morning. It is Friday, July 19th, and this is Michigan Mornings from Ave Maria Radio and the Ave Maria Radio app. I'm Matthew Handley. Coming up, Chuck Gaidica will discuss the link between mental health and church attendance. But first, your local weather and this news. A Michigan jury has reached a partial verdict in the murder trial of synagogue leader Samantha Wohl. Wohl was found stabbed to death outside her Detroit home last October. On Thursday, jurors were unable to return a verdict in 2 of the 4 charges against the suspect, 29-year-old Michael Jackson-Bolanos. The jury found him not guilty of premeditated murder and guilty of lying to police, but were unable to reach a verdict on charges of murder and home invasion. A pretrial hearing on the 2 deadlocked counts has been scheduled for July 25th. Businesses around the world are being affected by a cybersecurity outage. The cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike says it is suffering a major outage today, resulting from an issue with its latest update. The company says it's now in the process of rolling back that update worldwide. The statement comes after technical issues were reported around the world, with many linked to Microsoft products. Microsoft confirms that it has suffered an outage, but says its cloud services have mostly been restored. The outage is affecting travel in particular, and there are currently about a dozen cancellations or delays this morning at Detroit Metro Airport. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is calling on the United Auto Workers president Shawn Fain to be fired. Trump made the remarks in his speech at the Republican National Convention last night, saying the UAW ought to be ashamed for allowing China to build auto plants in Mexico and for planning to sell vehicles built there in the U.S. The former president and Fain have an ongoing feud, and the UAW called Trump a scab on its X account. Trump also called on every single auto worker, union and non-union, to vote for him in November. Politico reports Congresswoman Hillary Scholten of Grand Rapids has had some of her re-election assistance cut by the Michigan Democratic Party after she called for President Biden not to run for re-election. MLive says the Democratic Party says she was removed from a strategy call about the coordinated campaign, which is an effort between them and the Biden team to get Democrats elected. Scholten is the only Democrat in Congress from Michigan who is calling on Biden to drop out and was the 10th House Democrat to make the announcement. 20 House Democrats have now called for Biden not to run. And at a mass for pilgrims from the Archdiocese of Detroit yesterday in Indianapolis at the National Eucharistic Congress, Archbishop Allen Vigneron told worshipers that the Eucharistic faith is a humble faith. He said, "We are precious to Christ, we are the Father's gift to him, and when we believe, he exalts. And when we celebrate the Eucharist, Jesus at the right hand of the Father, even now, is praising the Father." This is Michigan Mornings. Now this.
Ave Maria in the afternoon, premiering July 15th with Dr. Marcus Peter. An engaging take on the church, culture, and current events.
Hi, I'm Marcus Peter. Tune in weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern as we examine the world around us, past and present, through the lens of faith and from the heart of the church. So join me in conversation with our guests and call in with your questions.
Tune in starting Monday, July 15th as we navigate the culture on this EWTN radio station.
In the Motor City today, we will have sunny skies and highs around 81. Tonight will be mostly clear with lows dipping to around 62. Saturday will be sunny with highs around 84. Sunday will be partly sunny with highs in the mid-80s. And Monday will be partly sunny with temperatures in the mid-80s. In the Saginaw Valley today, we will have sunny skies with highs around 80. Tonight will be mostly clear with lows dipping to around 58. Tomorrow will be sunny with highs around 83. Sunday will be partly sunny with temperatures in the lower 80s. And Monday will be mostly sunny with highs in the lower 80s. A Harvard University professor recently suggested that the decline in church attendance around the country could be connected to the mental health crisis. Teresa Tomeo and Chuck Gaidica talked about it. More on Catholic Connection.
So I think the answer is yes, and I think this Harvard professor suggests that many studies are showing that in this time of anxiousness and of depression and increasing suicide and so many mental health issues that we have, that this issue of declining church attendance can directly be linked to the idea of a mental health crisis. I don't think it's a stretch. There really is a connection of people who are not attending church any longer. They're self-identifying. They're literally saying, no, we haven't attended in the past week. And so what is happening?
It really is, I think, important to examine because, and you know this, and not only in your own journey, but if you look again at the evidence, there is a connection between the spirituality. We're not just bodies, nor are we just souls floating around, right? There is a connection between the spiritual and the physical. Well,
and I think, as a wellness coach, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a trainer, I can't write a prescription. But if I could write a big RX for everybody, I would say strongly consider, not if you're listening and you say, well, I attend church, I go to Mass maybe once a month or something. Well, maybe you increase that. Maybe you know someone who you could find this article or articles like it and forward it to them. Maybe that could also include a personal invitation, because just to send people data, that works for some of us. And what's interesting in this article, they point out that when attending religious services, we tend to find a robust, that's the word used, sense of self-worth. We can find a balance between that and humility. We can find something greater than self. And they also point out, it's an asterisk, but it's a really important thing. If you are going through a mental health or a physical health crisis and you do attend a worship service and you think that's going to cure you, well, of course, we know this is in God's time. So we've got to be careful that we don't tell everybody, well, rush to Mass and that's going to change everything in your physical or mental health life. That's not the point.
Catholic Connections coming up today at 8 a.m. right here on Ave Maria Radio. St. Ignatius of Antioch says all things have an end, and two things, life and death, are side by side set before us, and each man will go to his own place. I'm Matthew Handley. Thanks for joining me all week here on Michigan Mornings. You can stay connected with me over the weekend on X. I'm at Radio Handley. And Lord willing, I'll talk to you again on Monday. Goodbye.